Today, we have a very, very interesting show. I've got two of the biggest movers and shakers in the entertainment world who are sort of the people that make things happen. One is Beck Lee, who's been called the St. Jude of entertainment publicists, and that was by Huffington Post. And he's also been called something of a marketing genius. And having worked with Beck myself since the beginning of my career, I would agree with that. Another guest who's going to be on is celebrity photographer and CBD expert, my friend Dave Allocca, who also got his start as a celebrity photographer working with me. So Beck Lee, Dave Allocca, welcome to The Alarmists.
Hello, Jesse. How are you?
Hey, Beck. Hey, Dave. Nice to see you again. Now, what the audience doesn't know is we cut our ropes together almost 20, 30 years ago. We know each other from the beginning of at least my career. And with Beck, it's amazing because we started with the Avignon Film Festival, and it was a pretty amazing collaboration. Every time the film festival would come in, there would be some major celebrity like Cliff Robertson or Jacqueline Bisset or Peter Fonda. Because of Beck, I actually got to have a Peter Fonda moment, man, my Easy Rider moment. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. And with Dave Allocca, Dave and I also have a camaraderie and a friendship that stretches back to the very beginning of my career. And we have seen it all. And Dave has done every major celebrity. He's good friends with Robert De Niro, and he's done every major person that's out there. We started in the very beginning. We did columns called Scrapple in the Apple. We went and did Springsteen and Dizzy Gillespie, and we got up close and personal like you can't do these days. Anyway, I want to know, you guys, how are you feeling about what is happening in the world? Because Beck, you're a publicist. You're there to promote, and when the world of PR is put to a grinding halt because of a major pandemic, it's got to make your job impossible. And Dave, thank God you have another business. It's called Mindleaf CBD. So he has created another industry for CBD oil, which thank God is keeping him going. In fact, in this environment, I think we all need a lifetime supply. Starting, there it is. Starting, all right, so since you're on the camera here, Dave, yes, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit of your history and how it's turned your life upside down?
Well, honestly, Jesse, it's great to be on your show. We started, you and me, back in, I guess it was
1987.
1987. I could pull out this old photo of
Music Mouth.
Showbiz magazine in 1987. Quite a long time. I guess that's 33 years ago. After working with you for a few years, I ended up working with a few photo companies, and then working with the New York Post as a celebrity photographer, as a freelancer for the last 27, 28 years. Things have been pretty good in that business.
Now it's just come to a halt, right? I mean,
the business has come to a halt, and I mean that even goes to the CBD business, and I'm sure Beck's business. We all rely upon events, and without events, it's very hard for us to, even in the CBD business, promote. Besides the internet, there's no events, there's no car shows, there's no promotion, there's no film premieres in the photo business, there's no Broadway, there's no catalyst for any kind of event job. And I've been in two businesses that heavily rely upon events.
And it doesn't look like it's going to be able to, resume anytime soon. In fact, it seems like things are getting a lot worse.
From what I see, the numbers are growing. For us to say up on the East Coast where we are, we got it first, and I'm not so sure if we're not going to get it again. The thing is not gone. That's the unfortunate part.
So how is it? I mean, so when did it suddenly, like Beck, when did it suddenly dawn on you that suddenly you're the business that you've worked so hard, Media Blitz, let everyone know about what you do and the company that you have. When you knew that Media Blitz, suddenly there was no more Blitz. The only Blitz.
Well, you know what? I just want to say, actually, to catch up on a little bit of recent history for me, I actually moved to Minneapolis 2 years ago. One of the reasons I came to this city, which has since become the epicenter of the racial protest movement internationally, which is, a big, it's a big surprise to me. I didn't expect us to be. Well, all these circumstances converging into this moment where we are right now. I feel a lot like I did when 9/11 hit in New York, and the rest of the world was looking at New York and inspired by what New York was doing and how we were responding to the 9/11 attacks. Everybody, people from all over the world were asking, how are we doing, and wondering if we could, how we're going to respond and get back up on our feet. And we did. And I think a lot of Americans became newly enamored of what New York was all about, and New Yorkers. Since then, tourism since 9/11 didn't go down. It just skyrocketed up and up and up. And Americans love New York and will always remember for how valiantly we responded in 9/11. Now, I quite by serendipity, I'm in Minneapolis, which is the epicenter of the racial protest movement. Not just racial, its education and economic inequities are just unsustainable. And now we have, a planet that with climate change is at grave risk. So, yeah, I think that this is a time where this kind of, it is the moment. It is the day of reckoning, really.
Now, the three of us, we're all parents. We're all, I'm a father, and you're a father, and you're a father.
Mm-hmm. And a grandfather.
Some of us, wow. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that we have this responsibility, it's not just about our ability to have a job and to provide. It's also about protecting those children that we have, and to make them understand what's happening around them. Well, I mean, I'm curious what your take is on all that.
Well, I wanted to actually answer that question: why Minneapolis, and why this moment? You were suggesting that there was some sort of political underpinning to it. The thing about Minneapolis that has, kind of revealed itself to me is how much it sort of represents the problem and the solution. The problem is this legacy of racism. And, this is a progressive city. This is a city that has a lot of immigrants, and it has a lot of social services for poor people and immigrants. A very progressive city, right? But the legacy of racism is severe. It's profound. It runs really deep here. The white supremacy, the inequity, the redlining that took place for many generations, Jim Crow redlining. Black people couldn't live in certain neighborhoods, or most neighborhoods in Minneapolis. We don't have slums here, but the inequity of income and education is among the worst in the United States here in Minnesota.
Wow, I didn't know that. That.
So wow. Minnesota, which is a purple state, by the way, which is very interesting because, we actually have, in close proximity, rural, conservative, and urban, progressive, mentalities and interests and lifestyles right next to each other. Minnesota is really emblematic of the United States and the rest of the world in ways it's why this protest movement and the George Floyd murder just sort of seemed to, I didn't expect it to explode the way it did, but in retrospect, it makes total sense.
This is the part that I can't stand. And like my wife and I today, she comes into my office and we're both sitting there and we sigh and we go, I'm losing it. We're not fucking living. And this is the part of it that I can't say. You know, a thing that used to be normal, like going to the beach with another family where we actually can feel comfortable, is like a gift. It's horrible.
You can't. I mean, you have to. It's now to the point where you're taking your life in your hands and your family's life in your hands to do certain things anymore, and you have to think about what you want to do and how you're going to do it and how you're going to be safe doing it. I mean, even to the point of going out to eat. I'm not secure yet with that.
I agree. I'm the same way.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
No, I want to just say, I want to make sure that I can share this with you, Dave and Jesse, that one of the benefits of being in Minneapolis and doing media relations in the arts is that I landed on an account. I've been working throughout the pandemic.
Wow.
But this is a music venue that was the last to have a live concert in the Twin Cities. We had a feature story in the Star Tribune on it. We March 15th, right? We were the last. We hung in there to as long as we could until the shutdown. And we were the first to come back. On June 1st, this particular venue, which is called Crooner's Supper Club, started a drive-in concert series on June 1st, just after the riots when we were still under curfew. And we have been sort of leading the way in the Twin Cities, and we've gotten a lot of attention, but one of the reasons we can do it is that we have outdoor space. Wow, and they really are using the outdoor.
New York, where is
right.
no
you know, that's a huge asset, and they're leveraging that asset, right? It's that they've had almost 80 concerts since June 1st, outdoors, and it's great. And they're employing musicians. They've got their staffs working, and they've got audiences coming out. People are very grateful when they come out. But in the last week or so, the energy has changed. It's become palpable, the anxiety that people have and the guilt that they have going out.
Let me tell you something. When you talk about going out, and I was just to go to the beach.
What's wrong with that? We got to go out.
Of course, we have to go out.
But
I was
people are
so stressed out about
that they shouldn't, and if they do, they're making a very reactionary. They're falling into some trap where they self-politicize, and they don't.
Let me ask you a question. This is conspiracy. So let me ask you a question about a conspiracy that comes to mind after what Beck said. I'm a very big concert goer, and I photograph concerts and events and stuff like that. I'm noticing now everything's dead for 2020 over here and most of the country. They're already putting concerts out for 2021. My question is, how can you actually put together a concert in August of 2021 and know we're going to be safe unless this is all planned out that we are going to be safe by 2020?
Well, James, you're talking about when is the coast clear, right? You're saying people are actually waiting for some sort of demarcation line. The coast is clear. The coast is clear now, Dave.
Right.
What people have to remember is that this is a very challenging situation. But I'll give you take our example. Take the example of Crooner's Supper Club. We have shows, right? What's the next step? Other venues that have outdoors, or it's the fixed seating places that can't be producing, but they can be producing in pop-up venues. They can be producing immersively. They could be producing in parks, and that's what we have to be doing. Anybody who can be out there producing safely, that with social distancing, should be trying. And that's one of the things about Minneapolis is that I think there is going to be more activity here before most other American cities.
Let me just say one thing here, Jesse, before you shut down.
You get the last word, Dave.
that what happens now moving forward is not Trump's fault, is not the Democrats' fault. it will be our fault as a world if we don't start to wear the mask, social distance, and listen to what the science is out there. We are going to doom ourselves. You can't blame anybody but ourselves at this point.
Listen to Dave Allocca because he's telling the freaking truth. I
like
agree with you, man. I like it, Dave.
Thank you.
Beck Lee, Dave Allocca, what a great show. Unbelievable. All right, man.
Thank you.
Peace. These two.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming on the show, both you guys. I really appreciate it. Tune in, stay healthy, and stay safe. Peace.